I'm James Balog. I'm an environmental photographer. I'm the founder and director of the Extreme Ice Survey and the Earth Vision Institute in Boulder, Colorado. I decided right from the beginning of my career that I wanted to do color documentary photography, and I worked my way kind of up the food chain from the specialty magazines like Outside to Time and Life and National Geographic and Smithsonian. But at the same time, I was very aware of the fact that the best projects that I could do, the most creative expression of what I was interested in, wasn't going to come from the assignments. The reason being that media institutions typically don't become institutions by doing innovative, penetrating, imaginative work. They become institutions by kind of staying within certain confines and feeding the audience what the audience wants to hear. So I wanted to go outside that and get edgier and go further out. I found over time that I would invent these approaches to subject matter and would meet with great resistance at the beginning of the idea. You know, the editors could never see or imagine the idea the way I did. And then I would go out for a year or 2 or 5, do this stuff on my own, and then all of a sudden they would say, oh yeah, okay, that's a great interpretive approach to something we're very interested in. Okay, you're on, we'll publish your pictures. But would they be the visionaries up on the front end of a project to help make it happen? No. The Earth Vision Institute exists to integrate art and science in order to tell innovative, inspiring stories about human-caused environmental change. Systemic, like big-scale stuff, not about endangerment of a little piece of wetland, but the big elements of the natural system that are getting changed by human activity. The art tends to be, if divorced from the facts of the case, it tends to seem too personal and expressive. Science, if divorced from the art, strikes me as often being too clinical and too objective, too rational, and it doesn't touch the human heart and mind in quite the same way. So my premise has been that in integrating the art and the science, you can engage with a lot of these issues in a lot more effective way. The Extreme Ice Survey is a study of receding glaciers in various parts of the world as a consequence of climate change. We have time-lapse cameras permanently stationed, or more or less permanently stationed, at glaciers in Antarctica, South Georgia, Greenland, Iceland, Alaska, Canada, the United States, and the Austrian Alps. We also had some cameras at Mount Everest for a few years. And those cameras are sitting there, bolted to bedrock, clicking away every half hour around the clock as long as it's daylight, and making a record of how the world is changing. At the same time, I've been doing a huge amount of photography and video, looking at the aesthetic interest of these landscapes, the beauty of these landscapes, and the charm and the power and the glory, in a sense, of these landscapes as well. So all of that comes together and it becomes this multifaceted way of thinking about and looking at places that, you know, the average man on the street doesn't typically engage with. But imagery is immensely powerful as a communication tool in modern culture. We get that, we understand that. And if you pair the imagery with well-chosen, well-crafted words, you have a very, very powerful way of putting ideas and experiences out into the social environment. So it's the internet is great for that. The internet age makes it easier to just go running off and doing your own projects. But it's basically unsustainable as a professional enterprise for young photographers and writers. If I were starting out today trying to make a living at this, I have no idea how I would make it work. You know, the only reason I can make it work is I've got 35 years of backgrounds behind me, and I have a portfolio, I have a record of accomplishments, and now I have donors who are very interested, patrons who are very interested in making sure that we can keep doing this work. But if I had to make a living today decorating the internet with pictures and stories and not getting paid for them, I just have no idea how I would survive. I think it would be virtually impossible. It's deeply ironic that the professional conditions, the material conditions, financial conditions that guys like you work under today are so eviscerated, so gutted compared to what they used to be. Because the power of a photograph or a video as a means of communication is ever greater. It's something that people understand and that our culture is conditioned to embrace and accept and be fascinated by.